Whenever a king is coronated, the whole ceremony is performed in an auspicious manner. Many rituals are performed, drums are beaten, chanting of the scriptures fill our hearts with joy. The Rajaguru coronates the Raja, hands over the Sengol to the Raja. This is how the Sengol is handed over to the king. Now, what is the significance of this Sengol? The prefix Sen is derived from the word Senmai, meaning the qualities of the king who is expected to remain impartial and treat people equally. So the king agrees to uphold dharma and provide justice and good governance to his people after receiving the Sengol. The Sengol as such has a divine purpose to serve. This should not be considered as a mere transfer of power. And this is not a new tradition that the Cholas follow. Sengol finds its mention in Tirukkural written by Thiruvalluvar some 2000 years before. One whole chapter talks about the Sengol, out of which the one that I like, Valloki Valum Ulagellam, Mannavan Kolloki Valum Kudi, meaning how different living beings look up to the rain for their survival. The people of the kingdom look up to the Sengol for justice and good governance. Imagine that is a level of importance which is given to the Sengol. And mind you, this concept of the Sengol is not just restricted to the Cholas, it's also applicable to the Pandyas, the Cheras and the Pallavas. And similarly, in the north of India, we call it as Raj Dand, which helps the king to govern well. It gets even more interesting to know how different countries follow this tradition, not just India. The United Kingdom follows this. In the recent coronation of the King Charles III, a scepter is seen handed over to him. And the same can be seen in Egypt, where the Parohas are seen holding it. Now, do we have any instances in the past wherein the Sengol has served as an epitome of justice? Yes, we do have. In the famous epic Silapadikaram, when the Pandya king pronounces wrong judgment, the Sengol bends. As soon as the king realizes that he has given a wrong judgment, he dies out of guilt just to bring the bent Sengol back. Another incident is from the Chola kingdom itself, wherein the chariot of the prince runs over the calf and subsequently the calf dies. Not able to bear the death of the innocent calf, the Chola king becomes very furious and he pronounces death sentence to his own son. Such are the extreme examples that we find and associate in the past with the Sengol, which is known to have pronounced impartial judgment. Now that we have understood its importance and significance, how did the Sengol reach from Madras to Delhi? It was in the year 1947 when the Britishers had decided to leave India. Mountbatten, the last Viceroy of India, asked Nehru how this transfer of power from Britain to India should be made. Apart from the regular signing of the paperwork. He wanted to conduct the occasion according to the ceremonial way of the Indian traditions, for which Nehru didn't have an answer right away. He consulted Rajagopalachari, who was the last Governor General of India. It was Rajaji who suggested the Chola Sengol to be presented to mark the transfer of power from Britain to India. So the Tiruvavadurai Adinam, who had been traditionally coronating the Chola kings, advised Mumudi Bangaru jewelers in Chennai to make this Sengol, which is 5 feet tall, completely made of silver and gold plated, with a total cost of 15,000 rupees then. Now there is a bull on top of this Sengol, which signifies dharma. The king needs to uphold dharma at any cost after receiving this Sengol. That is its significance. By this time, everybody should be having this question in their mind as in, why only the Chola Sengol? Why not the Pandyas or the Cheras or the Pallavas? Or anybody else's? Because the Cholas call themselves as the descendants of the Rama, and it's interesting to see who did the Lord Ram worship. Lord Ram and Sita worshipped their family deity Sri Ranganatha in Ayodhya. And Sri Ranganatha deity is present in Sri Rangam in Trichy, which is in the Chola kingdom in Tamil Nadu. So that's the beautiful connection established between the north and the south of India, cutting across all the barriers. So now let's come back to the story of Sengol. On 14th of August 1947, the Sengol and the Adinam are flown to Delhi. The Adinam first hands over the Sengol to Mountbatten. While the Adinam picks up the Sengol back from the hands of Mountbatten, he purifies it with the Ganga Jal. Oduars chant the verses from Kolaripadigam, which has totally got 11 verses. It's a Tamil literature composed by Thirunyana Sambandar. The Sengol is finally presented to Nehru. So what happens to the Sengol for the next 75 years? There is no news of such historic handover of power anywhere mentioned in the history textbooks. The textbooks are completely void of such information. Forget about the ignorance of whole of India. People of Tamil Nadu themselves are unaware of this incident. So how did Modi know about this done and dusted Sengol when whole of the India had completely forgotten this? In 2021, a famous historian from Tamil Nadu, Padma Subramaniam, she wrote a letter to the PMO explaining the details and the importance of the Sengol. Mr. Modi understood the importance and the significance of the Sengol and reclaimed the lost glorious tradition of the Sengol by placing it near the chair of the Lok Sabha Speaker in the newly constructed parliament, which was inaugurated on May 2023. This time also the Adinams presented the Sengol to Modi. Modi has definitely won the praises of all the 140 crore people of India, and I wish to look forward for a Ram Rajya where people are treated equally and prompt justice is given a priority, cutting across all the inequalities, and a corrupt-free administration. At least that's what is expected out of a king who receives this Sengol. When people feel they are in heaven, such a big responsibility lies on the shoulders of Modi, and I believe Modi will make this possible in reality soon.